Perfect. Thank you. Okay, branding and product lines. Packaging and brand design experts need to understand target consumers inside and out. They need to be on the lookout for new trends that might affect the brands, not only in the design community, but on a global and social cultural scale as well. Of course, they must fully understand the business objectives for the brand. To do that, you'll need to do a few things. One is become very good at typography. More than simply applying fonts or typefaces, typography is the craft of selecting, customizing, creating, and integrating type solutions. A great deal of personality and emotion can be communicated through typography. Beyond the words and sentences the letters form, type can express elegance or distaste, strength or fragility, rage or tranquility, indulgence or caution, and anything in between. Mediocre typography can deflate even the best package design. Similarly, brilliant typography can produce successful results when almost everything else is lacking. Brand ownership. Brand and product recognition are a multisensory phenomenon. They're usually triggered by visual stimulation, but can certainly involve the other senses. Most often in packaging, what you own in a given category is connected to shape, color, a number, and/or written word. There is a growing push, though, through packaging innovation to own other qualities such as texture, shine, or even scent. I think Tiffany's is a great example of brand ownership because that blue color is just synonymous with the brand. If you get a box with that, it always comes with the white ribbon with the black logo on it. It's just, they own that category. All these basic elements can be linked to either overtly or subconsciously to emotions and implied meanings. If a designer can help form an emotional bond with consumers through a combination of these ownable attributes and the larger brand experience, the result is a connection that can stand up to outside influence such as competitive innovations and price fluctuation. So this is a good example of co-branding. Star Wars and Legos are two strong brands that had to find a way to work together. Visual languages morph over time. Market research on long life power brands can often bring back consumer impressions that lean towards stale, outdated, flat, or boring. This trap is often set by marketers themselves as a result of overcommitting to every equity and graphic element as if they are timeless. It's true that some things should remain the same form as staying power, but the ongoing approach to visual languages, the summation of all aspects of the design, must evolve. If it does not, cultural irrelevance and obsolescence are inevitable. Change itself is not proportionate to risk. However, an unwillingness to change and evolve a design is far more likely to lead to a lack of consumer interest. The use of imagery on packaging can be as vital as the branding or messaging. Imagery can be used to demonstrate use, express a unique innovation, create appetite appeal, align a product with a style or cultural trends, invoke desired emotions, dispel market paradigms, or directly relate to a specific demographic. Image and type execution choices vary as much as purpose. Examples are largely broken into two categories, either photography or illustration. Choosing the correct visual approach is driven by several key factors. The nature of food product category, electronics, food and beverage, or pharmacy, brand essence and personality, honest and scientific versus trendy and fun, competitive trends, what are the other guys doing, should we do the same or contrast ourselves, and value perception, what treatment elevates purchase intent best. Appetite appeal sounds specific to food packaging, but the term is more broadly applied. It's tied to food because we associate the word appetite with hunger for sustenance. In truth, the appetite appeal is the attractive quality of an image that appeals to our hunger for anything. When imagery makes us drool over the idea of product or the experience it provides, the only thing that separates us from satisfying that appetite is the purchase of the product. Trends in most product categories indicate an evolving taste driven by cultural influences. What looked appetizing 10 years ago may not work well on the shelf today because styles change. What was tasty then is often flat or dated now. This is brand blocking. Brand blocking refers to the cumulative effect achieved when a section of a shelf is clearly dominated by a particular brand through the effective use of well-branded packaging. More than ever in this context, branding is not just the logo on the pack, but rather the visual fingerprint of the whole group of packages that it makes on a shelf. Brand blocking. Big brands in certain categories seem to own a shelf. Often this is driven by a color that causes consumers to immediately recognize the brand. In the freezer case, you'll encounter the popsicle yellow door, and in the breakfast or snack aisle, you'll find the blue wall of Pop-Tarts. One extension of brand blocking is sometimes referred to as billboarding, the rhythmic or patterned appearance that occurs when multiple product facings work together to form a larger impression. Billboarding can be engaging, but as a technique, it sometimes feels like a forced effort to be clever at the expense of optimal product shoppability. Here's another example of brand blocking that Derek M. brought to my attention in the beginning of class. One of the problems with brand blocking is that the people who stock the shelves need to be smart enough to or recognize the ways to place the package to get the billboarding effect. You know, in this case, it might be difficult to spell out pure Icelandic as a big thing if they just are putting up on the same side pure, pure, pure. It's critical for a larger product line to have careful balance intended to attract the consumer. Brand blocking should draw them in with bold colors or large blocks of colors, but at the same time, it must be easy to shop. This requires careful consideration in creating an intuitive shopping system. A number of design devices help: color, shape, typography, photography, and so on. It's essential to give flavors a clear difference, close up, but a group feel at a distance. Brand essence or brand positioning. Why do consumers buy one brand over another? Rational thought does play into purchase intent. Factors such as price and perceived product quality are two rational concerns. However, when everything else is the same and the products appear at parity, consumers' decisions often becomes emotional. For many years, there's been talk of left and right sides of the brain. The left side controls the rational, analytical, and scientific, while the right works on the emotional and artistic. Great packaging designers blend both science and art into their work. One area where this comes into play is branding. Designers must create and then present their work in the context of branding terms in order to sell the ideas effectively to clients. Often these terms are confusing or seem similar, but the essential way to understand how they relate to each other is on every package project. So there's the brand promise or brand positioning and brand promise. The first thing to consider is the brand promise. That's the one thing the brand intends to own in the target consumer's mind. The brand promise must be believable, clear, unique, compelling, and endearing to the consumer. All marketing and communication tools must reinforce the promise that the brand is shown to be uniquely qualified to deliver it. So if FedEx starts delivering packages late, they're breaking their biggest thing, their brand promise. If Subway starts giving you, moldy bread, that breaks their brand promise. Next up is the brand values. At the core of any brand identity are the brand values, the things the company believes in. Brand values guide all decisions and provide a framework for corporate culture, marketing communications, and the brand's public personality. So this is just what they believe. I know there's one company and theirs is do no harm. I don't remember which one it is though. The brand essence. From there, consider the brand essence, or the intrinsic properties that characterize or identify the brand. It's the heart and soul. Brand essence is concise, enduring, aspirational, and yet attainable and extendable. It's a distillation of the brand's identity and an encapsulation of the brand's values. It's not a tagline or a logo, rather it's the rich, multidimensional character of a brand, and it must be conveyed in every aspect of the consumer's experience with a product. Brand positioning. Related to brand promise and informed by brand essence is brand positioning. It's the place where a brand adopts in its competitive environment to ensure that the consumers see it. Positioning sets a brand apart and connects consumers to the product. With brand positioning, the entire market mix is carefully manipulated in order to communicate, teach, and inform consumers that this is the best product for them. Done properly, positioning can turn consumers into brand evangelists. All of these aspects of branding tools are to shape design. The goal of creating integrated harmony and strong impressions in the mind of consumers should be the designer's guiding principles in packaging. Lastly, we're going to talk about shoppability, making vast product lines easy to navigate. If finding what they want within your client brand offerings make consumers rub their eyes in confusion, you have a shoppability problem. For instance, one brand of pasta sauce with 37 flavors is simply too hard to navigate. Often a consumer will buy another brand rather than sort it all out. However, the situation is different when flavors are segmented based on clear criteria such as organic versus non-organic, meaty versus vegan, or even budget versus gourmet blends. Consumers can locate a group and then locate their flavor. If a product line is segmented in a way that's irrelevant to the consumers, they'll probably move on to the store brand that's easier to understand and probably cheaper too. Assuming typical lines of products isn't unnecessarily wide, shoppability can be easily achieved through consistent design architecture. With clear, legible typography and a judicious use of color or imagery, a package design system can provide quick, relevant decisions. Products and packaging living a risk-averse shelf life are playing it safe. As a rule, however, this approach leads to flat results and additional vulnerability to defeat. The edgier or more aggressive players are arguably taking more chances, but they know with good planning and smart changes, greater riches are there for the taking. Designers need to encourage smart risk-taking by their clients in order to avoid product being lumped in as a parity product. Standing out on the shelf over time requires revitalization of package design. And this is the order in which humans see things. For we identify color first, and then shape, and then we interact with photography, and then we finally read the words. And so if you want to extend a product line, think of color, linking elements, graphic architecture, photography, typography, and brand hierarchy. And that's that. I don't know how to get out of here.